Show of hands. Who else used to talk to themselves as a kid? Okay, a few of us. Remember the endless chatter that we would play out from our minds into reality. There'd be a protagonist, an antagonist, and some characters that are just there to instill the belief in our superheroic abilities. We would debate, reason, and find solutions to the same problems we created. My 4-year-old does that all the time. He plays out an entire movie by himself. He always fights alongside his favorite superhero, Batman, of course. There's such trust, such belief in the stories he's playing out from what we refer to as his own imagination. All the while learning valuable life lessons that's pulling him forward by some invisible thread. Last year, our Christmas plans had gotten canceled last minute, so it was just him and I hanging out before bed. 2 years since my divorce to his dad, and this time it was my turn to have him for the holidays. This was the first Christmas where he understood the meaning behind it, so he was looking forward to receiving presents for weeks. He wasn't the only one excited. As a girl who was born in Bangladesh, then grew up in Thailand, Christmas wasn't something I celebrated growing up. I did enjoy Eid a lot with my cousins when I'd go back to visit, but I always felt like I was missing out on something when I saw my friends celebrate the jolly holiday. I lived in Thailand till about 11 years old, then moved to Canada, been there since. Back to that Christmas night of 2023. It was me and my son playing with his toys, listening to his endless chatter. Sitting nearby our newly decorated tree, the chatter in my mind felt quiet. I felt this peace, this calm, this joy as the realization washed over me that I have everything I need in this moment. This was significant, not only because of the profound feeling of fulfillment, but if you had talked to me even a few months back, I'd be in a completely different place. Rewind to that spring of 2022. I had made the decision to separate from my almost 10-year marriage. Coming from a conservative background and culture, this was a big deal. Filled with anguish and anxiety, because I did not have that trust within myself, leading me to not trust life itself. That summer, the father of my child moved out of the house we once called home. My son was spending the night with my parents. Sounds of laughter would echo the hallways at one point. That night, it felt cold and empty, with nothing but the unrelenting noise in my head that I just could not silence. I still vividly remember. Sometime around 3 a.m. that night, I woke up from a complete blackout in my own home. I had mixed a substance or two and went swimming in the pool all by myself, which just added to the chaos. I'd been sober most of my life. In high school and in university, I was that boring kid that didn't drink or smoke in parties. Who even was I anymore? It's honestly a miracle I didn't die by myself that night. In the fall of 2022, it had been a few months, and I was officially living life as a single mom. A decision that resulted in so much more of a loss than I had initially anticipated. Due to shared custody, I had lost half of my time with my then 2-year-old son. I had lost the support of my family because I was ripping away a reality that they held so close to their heart. And amid all this, I lost my dream job, not knowing how I was going to pay the lawyer fees or find myself a place to live, as that was the inevitable next step. As an engineer, who had spent majority of my life building my career, this was a big hit to not only who I was, but my entire self-concept and what I believed to be success. My mind was a war zone, constantly fighting with itself, arguing about whether or not I did the right thing. I was out for a walk when I decided life needed to change. I had to find peace in the decision that I had made. To come to terms with this, first, I silenced all outside noise. Music, other people's opinions, social media, and the approval of my family and friends. There is a Confucius saying, "Silence is a companion that never betrays." I meditated daily to listen to my inner guidance, to see what I agree with and what I don't, to unlearn, to relearn. What I found was a shared space between two consciousness. One that was trying to protect me, the ego. I call it the human self. And one that was pushing me beyond my comfort zone. You may have heard the term higher self. I call it the soul self. I realized I had to feed both, listen to both, in order to make decisions that were truly aligned. Author and psychologist Finkel and Baumeister says the self is an important interface between the animal body and the social system. Keep this in mind for what we're about to discuss next. At the beginning of our talk, we established that we talk to ourselves, yes? Now what? Now we listen. When we listen, understand, and accept our ego, we can embrace our duality and find peace and balance from within. Psychiatrist Dooley says the ego is afraid of three things: its external world, its instinctual drive, and its developing intelligence. Why? What's the ego's agenda? Only to maintain its identity and to protect us from everything it perceives as a threat. As Finkel and Baumeister has stated, the human social system is complex, with opportunities, but also challenges that the self needs to be able to navigate through. It is my belief that the soul is here to take us on an adventure. It wants to dive deep into every relationship to feel the depth of emotion that it brings. It is a dance between the two consciousness. Because while the ego is constantly looking for financial security and comfort from a life of luxury, the soul wants no attachment to material things. While the ego likes a hot, sexy, cute partner that allows for validation and compliments from others, the only thing the soul craves is the recognition of its truest form, its truest self, from people it wants to share this experience with. Ever heard of a Jay-Z song? Lost One. Fame is the worst drug known to men. It's stronger than heroin. When you look in the mirror like there I am, and still not see what you become. I know I'm guilty of it too, but not like them. I love songs like this. Why? Because they hype me up before a big presentation or before a talk on a global stage. Because they feed the ego, a very relevant and prevalent part of me. Yet when I go back home and come back to myself, I will most likely be listening to some sound bowl frequencies. Research by Kim and Choi state that the beating frequencies of sound bowls will permit me to access theta brainwaves, which facilitate the deepest meditative state. It is my belief and my observation that the duality exists for a reason. It serves a purpose. One would not exist without the other. The experience would not exist with only one. Lathran and a team of scientists conducted a study where they found that self-compassion promotes a strong sense of emotional well-being and secure attachment, healthy family, romantic, and friendship dynamics. In his study, he says that self-compassion is comprised of three main aspects. Number one, self-kindness instead of self-criticism. Two, the idea of common humanity, which essentially means that you recognize everyone faces hardships that take a toll on their emotional well-being. Everyone. The final component is mindfulness, which is a non-judgmental and open approach to negative or difficult emotions, instead of avoiding it or allowing it to consume you. That means allowing the ego, whether that's yours or someone else's, to have the space and recognition that it needs will allow for more harmonious relationships, both within yourself and with others. So, the next time you're having a conversation with someone, or you're at a crossroads of an important decision, start with assuring yourself, you are important, you are safe. I am important, I am safe. So that you may be present with the experience itself, instead of trying to prove something that you already are. Allow the ego to feel safe enough to experience the enchantment in its human existence. Just as there is yin and yang, light and dark, I believe duality is part of life. The actor, Bill Skarsgård, had once said, the character on screen that's the good guy or the bad guy, they're never interesting. It's important to feel the internal struggle. The duality is important to feel. Allow the ego the safety and recognition it needs so that it may experience the unseen without any fear. Thank you.